Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wallet Wisdom, a podcast presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union. If you're new to the podcast or have been listening for a while now, Wallet Wisdom is designed around breaking down the ins and outs of financial aspects, as well as bring answers to some of banking's more confusing or complex questions. I'm one of your hosts, Brett. As always, joining me, my co-host, my good friend, my best friend, Lo.
Yo. How's it going?
Good. Going well. Man, it's amazing how fast a month goes by.
Like a blink.
It's like a blink. But here we are again, and I'll tell you what, it's just starting to get nicer and nicer out. We're finally starting to, think about our spring project.
The birds are singing.
Yes, it's so nice.
Green things are appearing.
That's right. And my favorite, not really, but my they are beautiful, but the geese are back. and all
around our area is a lot of geese where we are right now.
Our buildings are close to like a little bit of a water preserve, and it is very majestic and beautiful, but they multiply quickly, and they definitely are messy.
Very protective as well.
Oh, yeah.
Do not get near those goslings, because the mama's going to come right after you.
That's exactly right. Well, hey, we are so excited to bring to listeners part 2 of our series on first-time home buying.
Been thinking about it a lot since.
I know. There's so many great things that we were able to cover and talk about as far as like what you need to do to start thinking about buying your first home,
right?
And what kinds of steps do you want to take? Again, we talked about building that team out, making sure you've got those experts that are in your corner helping you to understand. Because again, mortgage is not a one-size-fits-all kinds of approach, and everyone's situation is unique. So having that partnership and understanding what options are available is really crucial, which is why today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And let's bring back, again, our wonderful leaders in mortgage. We've got Janice Hurt, our mortgage support manager. And of course, we've got back on the show again. We are so glad to have you. You're going to become a new showrunner here. But we've got Vice President of Mortgage Production, Meg Dunn, as well. And, again, we learned so much from you guys in the last episode.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for listeners to kind of learn about what's next. Okay. I now know I'm ready. I've got my pre-qualification and pre-approval now. Now I'm making the search, and I think we found the dream home.
Right. And last episode we talked about at the seminar, they had someone that was saying, I'm not going to buy for a year, but now wait. Within 45 days, they were buying. So if you're listening last episode, you might even be on your journey and ready to close that you started after listening.
Right. That's exactly right.
Here we are. Let's go on this journey together.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit more about, okay, we know what house we want. How do we move this up? Forward to close.
What do we do next?
What do we do next? I mean, like we talked about on our last episode, there are so many different options that can be, figured out for what's best for your loan product, whether it's conventional, I've heard that a lot, as well as FHA loans. But I know that there's a bunch of other things like VA and rural development, and there's just so many different things.
Throwing out these new terms.
Whew, I studied beforehand.
Good job.
Crammed before the exam.
I'm gonna sign you up.
Right. She's trying to steal all the employees.
I know. Last episode, she's taking you. Now she's taking. Well, there we go.
There is always a need
Always
for mortgages.
recruiting, always looking.
Yes.
That's right. So can you kind of take us through now that we're at that stage? What kind of comes next? What options are there, and maybe help us break down what those options I know they have little variations. So.
Oh yeah, so many options, and each has its own pluses and minuses and qualifying criteria. It really can be a little bit daunting and overwhelming, especially for a first-time home buyer. So that is where the expertise of your loan officer comes in.
So we don't have to know what they all are.
No.
Okay, no,
Good.
because don't test me.
Exactly. Yeah, so like I mentioned on the last episode is just the importance of telling your story to the loan officer, because everybody's story is unique, and not everybody should just be thrown into a 30-year fixed conventional mortgage. There's so much more out there.
Yeah.
So with the conventional 30-year fixed, yes, that is 3% down low down payment option, but LMCU also has a few specialty programs that are low down payment, like our Community Edge program or our Smart Move program. Wow. And both of those are geared towards your medical personnel, your first responders, your school or government employees, military people. So those are still considered conventional, and like Community Edge would still be 3% down. Smart Move could be 0 or 1% down even.
Wow.
And then you get into the government loan programs like FHA and VA. FHA is a very popular one. That is good for your lower credit score buyers. If you have unpaid medical collections, that's a big one where they might not think that, we can't buy a home. I have $50,000 in unpaid medical collections. Well, you could with FHA.
Yeah.
And then VA, the Veterans Administration loan, that is one of my favorites. Like, it is just such a wonderful program that is a benefit for our veterans and military who qualify. And if they do have full eligibility, there is no minimum loan amount, really.
Wow.
So
That's
they could do
amazing.
0 down potentially on $1 million loan amount.
Sure.
It's pretty awesome that we're able to step in like that. So much of that system is broken, but it's so nice that we have this thing to give and say thank you.
That's exactly right.
Many
you've done.
benefits.
Thank you
Yeah.
for
A VA
their
loan.
service and being able to provide that for them.
Put your
as
life
well.
on hold. We'll help you
Absolutely.
get it back.
That's right.
And sometimes the veterans don't even realize all the advantages to that program. So again, that's where the loan officer comes in to be like, hey, you know what? You do qualify for this as a veteran, and here's all the advantages to this program that isn't just rate. There's a lot of other advantages, including 0 down.
Right.
Again, if they have
Right.
full eligibility, they don't have to come to the table with anything.
All
Sure.
they have to be an expert on is themselves, and they need to come with their story to tell the expert on all of these mortgages, right? So what they might need, let them know, and then you are off and running and defining it all.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then the other good government program that I really like is rural development. And this one is geared towards your low to moderate income people who want to purchase in like a rural area. And that is another great 0 down program.
Yeah.
So there's a lot out there. But again, meeting with your loan officer is free. Just to sit down, tell them your story, tell them what your goals are, and then they can come up with the solution on what is best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in banking almost 12 years, and I had no idea about the rural one. And especially with inventory counts so low in houses,
Absolutely.
people are looking a little outside of the lines, right? They're looking a little further than normal.
Right.
Well, and I got to confess, I got to confess from earlier. I may not actually have studied or crammed before. The only reason I actually knew about the rural development is that's actually how my wife and I bought
You're
our
a
first
rural
home.
boy.
Oh, that's exciting.
And so that was a huge
Yes.
aspect back then that we didn't really have a lot of funds to use for a down payment. So having some options. But I do know with rural development, there are certain geographic regions. So again, going back to like our conversation on our last podcast, and in case the listeners, you haven't listened to that, definitely want to check that one out
Pause,
too.
go back.
Exactly, right? But, again, knowing kind of what you're looking for, knowing what area you want to look into and your budgets and all comes into a factor. So, because not every zone will probably be available for rural development, but if you're looking in areas like that, there are some great products that way.
And you would be surprised on what they consider rural, because a lot of times it's just a suburb.
Sure.
It's not, you don't necessarily have to live in the city.
Right.
Have
but
neighbors
it's just
and have that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of
That's
people
so
think
true.
when you talk rural development, you're living out in farm country and
Right.
neighbors with, farmers and cows. And
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
thing.
that's a good point.
But
That's a
it's
good
not
point.
really. It could be just a suburb of your city.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think too, we have, you're going to hear many lenders, conventional, FHA, VA, right? Those are kind of like your standards,
Sure.
that most people offer. Then you get into rural development, you get into construction.
Yeah.
You can build your first home too, right?
Sure,
That's an option.
absolutely.
But then what I really love is that we have so many programs at Lake Michigan that we have developed.
Sure.
And that we have said, you know what, we want to help our teachers, our nurses, our first responders.
Yeah.
We want to help our doctors and our healthcare workers.
Our dentists,
You
right?
know,
That's another one.
We want to focus on areas where maybe, minority, majority income tracts and census tracts. We want to focus on those areas, helping the the populations that are maybe underserved.
Sure.
So I love the fact that, yes, we have all of those, standard,
What everyone
I would
else
call what
has.
everyone else has, but yet we have developed programs that we feel, going back to Janice's comments, come in, talk with the loan officer, tell your story. There is a place
Sure.
amongst all those programs for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when an institution comes alongside of its people and says, I want to hear about you. And then we're not afraid to say, oh, that's a big hole. Let's fill it. Right. And so that's so awesome. And
Right, because, it goes to you talk about, well, what's your income, what's this? But it also can go to, what do you do for a living? Who do you work for? Are you a teacher? Are you a nurse?
Yeah.
Well, did you know we have this special program designed for you as a thank you?
yeah.
So that's where the story comes in.
That's so
Yep.
cool.
And as we branch out, literally with new branches and new locations, I know that has also been a huge thing for us of learning what products we might need to come alongside of our members
Absolutely.
with. We got our Ravenna branch going, and we had to look into farm loans. Like
That's
this
right.
is a
That's
whole
right.
new ball game. How do you buy a tractor? I don't know.
Right.
So
That's exactly
it's
right.
really cool to know that if you bank with us, it's definitely going to be a lifetime thing.
Well, and I also think about too, when you look at not every company is going to have something or have that kind of approach. And it goes back to, I think, really who we are as LMCU and our DNA. When we think about how we got started and knowing that, it's a bunch of teachers that got together to say, we want to do something different than what we've always had, and started this credit union. Education and healthcare and our veterans and our doctor, all these different individuals, they're so crucial to who we are, and they make up our membership, and that we're members too. You know?
They're owners. Like
That's
that's
right.
really
That's
what it means.
exactly
That's
right.
what membership means. So
That's right.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool. So now, if I'm kind of now on the fence thinking about that, I know we talked in our last episode about finding the right budget, understanding that. I know you mentioned there are a few different variations of down payments. What are some things to consider? I know we kind of were talking last time about, hey, if you're planning on staying and making this kind of your forever home, then maybe a 30-year makes sense. But what about for listeners that are maybe looking for we're not 100% sure where we're going to be 30 years from now, but we definitely know we want to be here for at least the next 10 years.
Right.
What kinds of thoughts and questions could listeners kind of be prepared to come in and ask and be able to find the right product?
Well, I think, if you're saying, I'm not ready to commit to this, right? 30 years, that's a long time. How many of us have lived in our homes for, 30 years?
Yeah.
Right.
Average lifetime, that's the span that someone spends in a home is usually around 7 years. That's
Sure.
what we see as the average. There are ARM products,
Sure.
which we, ARM for, we use our jargon, but it's an adjustable rate mortgage.
Sure.
And they're fixed for a certain amount of time. So you can do, 5, 7, 10, and then it's fixed for that 10-year period. So if you do a 10-year ARM, it's going to be a fixed payment for 10 years. You don't have to worry about adjusting, changing, anything like that.
Yeah.
So if you, your spouse, you have a job where you think, I'm going to be transferred, we're going to be moving, or we plan to have a lot of children and we're going to need a
We're
bigger
gonna bust at
home,
the seams.
Right.
we're going to need more room. That might be great because sometimes those interest rates are lower
Sure.
than what you're going to get for a 30-year fixed loan. So those are options
Sure.
to consider.
Or and
as
even the
well.
market, the way it's been going, we are seeing highs right now.
Right.
And so maybe we want to only say, I want to be at this rate for max of 5 years. I bet it's going to drop before
Yep.
that.
Sure.
You can
Sure.
use it as that kind of tactic too. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
Well, and I know, especially in Michigan and in Florida, where we are at geographically. I mean, there's great universities and schools that higher education, or hey, we're moving to this school.
Residencies for doctors.
And we need and we're going to be here for the next 8 years because we got to go through our schooling, and this is where it's at. Maybe this is that option for them to say, okay, we know this is it, and if we want to renew after that, or how do we, that's really
Don't always have to do student housing.
That's right. That's right.
Get out of those dorms.
That's so
About
true.
down payments are not necessarily the thing anymore, but there are still some expenses that you have to keep in mind with the mortgage process, right? So we talk about appraisals or home inspections. Can you tell us a little bit more what goes into that whole aspect?
Sure. I mean, home inspections and appraisals, two separate things, right? The home inspection really is something that is for the buyer.
Sure.
Right? What are you getting? Kind of like a buyer
Protecting.
beware, right? It's protecting
Right.
you. I love that, you get enamored with the home, right? It looks gorgeous. But how old is the roof?
Is there black
Right.
mold in the
Is there,
basement?
how old is the furnace?
Right.
Is, what's the, has the electricity been updated? All of those different things. So a home inspection is going to be something that you, as the buyer, are going to want to conduct or
Sure.
purchase. The lender does not require that. We do not say go out and get an inspection. That's
Sure.
more for you so that when you put in your offer and you say, I want to buy this home, you know what you're getting.
It's a solid
Yeah.
investment.
Right.
Yeah.
And and if something needs to be fixed, so let's just say you put in an offer of $240,000 and then your inspection says that the roof needs to be repaired.
Sure.
So, and that's going to cost $10,000, let's just say. So you can say, well, let's negotiate that price. And now I don't want to pay $240, I want to pay $230.
You have tangible
Or-
leverage for
or-
that.
Right. That's a great way
Yeah.
to put it.
Or sellers, do you want to fix that roof before we buy this home?
Sure.
So
Sure.
you want to know those things, right?
love that.
Because you, going back to what we talked about in our last episode, you want to make sure you're not house poor. You're
Yeah.
going to want to make sure that you have money.
It's not a
should you
fun
have,
place to be.
No.
repairs that come up, right?
They do
so
happen.
know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the appraisal is something that we as the lender, we order that, right? Because we want to know what the value is of that collateral
Sure.
that we are going to be lending on, right? What is, if they're selling it for $300,000, is that really what the value is based on the market and based on what's going on in that particular area?
Yeah.
So that we are confident that if we are lending $280,000 in the appraisal's 300, okay, we've got a good investment.
Sure.
What we don't want to find out is that we lent $280,000 and it's only worth 200, right?
Right.
So inspections protect and educate the buyer, and appraisals
Yeah.
protect and help the lender.
That's
Right.
really, really
looking for
interesting.
hidden expenses on the buyer's end. So is
Right.
there something lying, waiting, lurking to come and
Right.
bite you? Once
And that
it's
doesn't
closed?
mean that it's going to be a showstopper,
Right.
right? It does not. It is never a showstopper, but it's one of those things. Does it need to be remedied before I move in?
Yeah.
Or is it just something that I can say I'm aware of, so I know what my expenses might need to be in the first couple months that I'm living in the home.
Because we've been in a market recently where people are waiving those inspections.
I was
right?
gonna bring that
Which
up,
is terrifying.
too.
I did that recently on my
Sure.
home, and we got very lucky. My husband has been somewhat certified as a home inspector,
Sure,
so
sure.
I would not recommend it for everyone. But
Right.
we found out we need to encapsulate our crawl space. It's
Mm-hmm.
something that it's leaching some moisture, but. For the most part, we got pretty easy there, but otherwise, it's a really good idea. to
Yeah.
have
I mean,
those
it's been
inspections
a
done.
very competitive market for the past year, 18 months.
Yeah.
And so you are seeing things like that because you're trying to compete against other people. What makes your offer look better? Well, I'll waive inspections.
All
You
to try and
typically-
speed it up, right?
To
Because
speed
it's
it up
really about
or-
the
And-
speed and wanting to get into they want to sell, they want to move in.
And less back and forth on pricing.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
it's not, well, I've got to fix this roof, so now come down 10,000, we're
Yeah.
talking. And so it's one of those things.
Which, again, for listeners to know, we definitely, at least I will say, I endorse getting a home inspection, mainly because in our first home buying journey, I'm just being transparent on it. The first home we found, man, we thought it was the one. We liked it. There was, and we were brand new. We didn't know. And then it was like, oh, have you guys thought of a home inspection? And we said, oh okay, cool. Well, I guess so. And so we did that to find out that the house had a radon issue. And so sometimes it's not even a bad roof, but it could be a health hazard potential for you living in that home. And so we had to have the conversation of, how do you mitigate that, and how do you fix that, and it could be fixed. And so that's one of those things that a home inspection can also help you identify if you've got that. But again, radon testing is an added thing, I understand, in most home inspections. But when we're talking about the health of your family, I mean, that kind of stuff is crucial.
But it's nice to know that is an option. If
That's
I'm
right.
feeling pressed against a wall and I really want this house, that is an option.
That's right.
But
Do you
the
want to get right to
appraisal,
the
on the other
altar and
hand-
marry that house? You're just gonna, skip
Shotgun
over it.
mortgage.
That's
is that a thing?
right. We're going to Vegas.
That's right. There you go.
I love it.
But the appraisal, on the other hand, that has to happen
That
because we
does.
need to know that we're giving you something.
We need to know, right? We want to make sure that the price that you are paying for that home, that is supported by the market and the other, comparable sales, and that just means other homes that have sold within that area, of similar size, amenities, things like that.
We're not looking to sucker you. Like it's just we want to know that we're making a good investment.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's right.
Right,
And you want to make
exactly.
sure that what you're asking for and the amount of that home, the home values the same as the loan. And otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Right. Well, and I think, I said before that an inspection protects the buyer and the appraisal protects us. I would also say that the appraisal also protects the member.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Because you don't want to find out at, 2 years down the road
Yeah.
that you're upside down on your mortgage, right? That you owe more than what it's worth
Yeah.
because it was overvalued or inflated or something like that. So it does help.
And we tend to put value on emotion, right? So I'm in love with this house. It is worth
Right.
any amount of money, right? We see it
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't appraise what I thought it was. Well, yeah, we don't put money on, your first steps being had in this house. That's not a value adder.
That's right.
But definitely. And so that's something that has to be done before. But there are a lot of things I remember hearing when I was a teller, people saying, oh, my mortgage loan officer said, don't do that right now because I'm going through a mortgage process.
Oh boy. Yes.
Right. So, don't get more credit cards. Don't, there's a list of things that we should be avoiding, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I think you could almost make like a David Letterman. I'm probably aging myself here,
No.
right? But the top 10 things,
Oh, yeah.
not to do. Not that we'll go through all top 10, but I think that
there
does
are
happen.
some no-nos.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things.
Yeah, and I know Janice has seen a number of those in her role and in underwriting. That she's some stories I'm sure she could tell.
Heartbreaking too, I'm
Yeah.
sure, where it's
Oh,
like that one
yes.
thing that took it from we're going 100 miles an hour and now we're stopped.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, in our first time home buyer seminars, we talk about, 10 things to avoid, and we'll touch on a couple of those today. So the big one is no new debt, don't buy big ticket items. It seems like when people are, like you mentioned, the emotion, and you're so excited, you get to purchase this house. It's got a 3-car garage, so I need another car.
Gotta fill it.
Right, exactly. Or I need to buy a boat because now I have a place to store the boat. So that's great. Do that, but after closing.
Or even all new furniture.
Yes,
That's the big thing too.
one.
I'm going to go and rack up the card because, wow, yeah.
Because you're so excited and you want to start buying the furniture and or
Right.
at least
So
get
save
it on
the
order.
IKEA trip for after.
Because sometimes you do have to order that stuff months ahead of time, and you want it to be there the day that you get to move in. So, but it's really important not to do that because if you are, in the mortgage process, you haven't closed yet, you're shopping for a car, you're shopping for a boat, you are shopping for the furniture. Every time somebody pulls your credit, that mortgage process comes to a screeching halt because we have to stop, verify. Did you take the credit card? Did you not take the credit card? Okay, so you took the credit card. Well, now I need to know what the payment is, what the balance is. Oh, it's not reporting in your credit report yet. Well, you need to get online.
Gotta
you need
wait
to,
till-
and it can be a very long process, but we really can't keep moving forward until we know that additional credit wasn't obtained. Or if they did, like I said, the balance, the payment, and then we have to go through and requalify with that new payment.
Is there a certain amount where we constitute it as a larger purchase? Because I know somebody's $100 is someone's $1,000, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is
That's a good
there
point.
a threshold to think?
We just have to go through and requalify them with the debt and
Okay.
make sure that they still qualify for the mortgage.
So no new credit purchases.
Right.
But
Well, and
if
I
it's
think other
cash,
things.
that's-
Yeah, there's other things too. We talk about telling your story. And Janice has reiterated that a couple times, right? To tell your story, what you do, if you change your story, if your story changes
Yeah.
throughout this process.
Plot twist.
Yeah, exactly. It is a plot twist. So it's not just the credit, it's not just purchases, but we've seen it.
Story dynamic.
We
Jobs.
go to get ready to do our verifications at the end of the process and call the number that was on the application for where the person worked. It's like, oh no, Johnny doesn't work here anymore.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
How's he paying us?
it's not that he's not,
Right.
probably
Right,
has taken on another job and
Right.
thinks, well, I'm making the same amount of money and I'm in the same line of work. And so what difference does that make to you? But it does make a
does.
difference.
All of it.
Doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to move forward.
Right.
But as Janice said, it can put a little bit of a delay on things. So, don't change the story.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
also it's important for listeners to also understand that the reason we do all of this is also for not just for us to make sure that it's going to be a good loan, but it's also to make sure that we are setting you up for the most success.
We want success here. We want to see you win.
And so we want to make sure that you are going to be able to afford your home, because nobody wants to have a situation where you're having trouble making a payment on your mortgage. We saw way too much of that 10 years ago plus, when there's just so much that happened in 08 and 09 with the housing, and so that's why we want to make sure that it's set up. That's why we look at your debt to income ratio. That's why we talk about that. And it's so important to have those dialogues so that you realize that it's really more for your success, so that you've got the best success set up to be able to stay in this forever home, or the home that those first steps are going to be made, So
The first pizza and champagne on the floor of the new house. Yeah.
Which everyone that's listening needs to.
It's a must.
It is. It's a
I
must.
did that.
Dixie cups.
That's
and, absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like a way of passage.
When I was writing loans as a loan officer, I would often say, oftentimes the most loving thing I can do is say no right now.
Sure.
Because if I were to say yes, it might help you for a minute, but this is going to get you in trouble later. Yeah. And it's so awesome to know, to be very confident that we have people like Janice and Meg sitting across the desk from them saying, no, let's do what's right for you.
That's right.
In the long run. We're not going to get you in trouble now.
Right.
So making sure you have your story ready to go and listening to the advice of things not to do. So
That's
there's
right.
more of those, right?
Yeah. What are
So
some
no
of,
more debt, no more.
Yeah, what are some of the other tips that we could cover? So I want to also preface too, for listeners, that a lot of what we're covering, in fact, all of what we're covering, is just a small glimpse into our first-time homebuyer seminars that's offered by LMCU,
Right.
and it really goes into more detail. Like we're just covering like the first couple of tips, but like you said, we've got 10 tips to be able to help you avoid those common mistakes in buying your first home and getting to the closing table, and more in depth into understanding a little bit more of the details of each one of these different loan types and how that relates to you. Plus, gives you an awesome opportunity to chat with some of our loan experts.
Say, bring your questions
in person. Yeah,
They want to have those conversations.
That's right.
And yeah.
And there's so many. There's no wrong questions to ask, and there really is a really safe space to be able to ask those as a first-time home buyer. So, but yeah, I know there's a couple other
or two more.
So Meg mentioned the job changes, and if you do get that job offer that you've been waiting for, just talk it over with your loan officer first, because if the way you're paid, if that structure is changing, so maybe you're an hourly W-2 employee type of, and then you're thinking about switching, and you get that job you always wanted, but it's a commission-based job, and so you don't have a history of receiving commission. You would give up your qualifying income. So, I'm not saying don't necessarily change, but make sure you're discussing it with
It's
your
not
loan
going
officer.
down. It's either going lateral or up, right? Is that what we're looking for?
And
Right.
to kind of what our example just a moment ago is, it's talk to us as it's happening, rather than having us, as we're processing everything,
Right.
find
Be
out and
surprised.
learn and be surprised on our end. It's always easier to get that ball started
Oh,
earlier,
absolutely.
We're doing
rather
this
than, oh no,
together.
we
Right.
caught
Yeah.
this, and now what? And now we got to get back to the drawing table. So,
Because sometimes it's just a matter of changing the name on an employer. If it's going to be a lateral switch with
Right.
pay, it's the same thing. We just need to update who
Right.
it's coming from.
Right,
Exactly.
but an honest and open conversation with your loan officer can really save you a
They're
lot
your
of
partner.
a lot
This
of
is your
headaches.
partner in this. Yeah.
And we're basically saying don't voluntarily quit, or don't like
Right.
retire in the middle of the process.
No plot twist.
After closing, sure.
yeah, right, exactly.
But otherwise, you could really sacrifice your approval and ability to purchase this home, and you don't want that to happen during that process.
So your loan officer should be your number one call list
Absolutely.
and number one
Yeah.
email list for any big life changes that are going on.
Right. One other thing that I would just add to that too, because I think some people might think that it's harmless, would be co-signing with somebody for a loan.
They think it's
Right.
I was
so
gonna talk
generous.
about
My
that
It's
buddy
too.
needed me on his
generously-
car loan.
And he's going to make the payment. He's
Right.
going to make the
I mean,
payment.
I could
just
tell
got-
you all day long about that stuff, but there's a
Right.
specific reason here, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, because you co-sign on that loan, that's going to go against your,
possible.
Debt to income
qualification and your
ratio,
debt to
yes.
income ratio.
Because you have responsibility there.
Yes, you do. Should they default, it's
Yeah.
yours. So, you think you're being generous, and I think people think it's, it's just
They're a
my
great
name.
person.
They're a good person, they're going to do it, but don't do that either.
Yeah.
And I've seen
Yeah.
people get bit well later after doing a co-signing. They completely forgot that they co-signed on this 15 years ago in
Yeah.
this 30-year mortgage.
Yeah.
And they go to go do this. So think about it long
Yeah.
and hard what you have going on in the future before you do something like that.
And that includes leases too. I have a friend who's getting ready to purchase a home, and his daughters came to him and said, "Hey, can you co-sign on our lease? We're having a hard time finding a place to rent, and we finally found a place, but they want one of the parents to co-sign on the lease." And I said, "You realize if you co-sign on this lease, that's going to go into your debt to income ratio." And he's like, "No, well, they're going to make the payments." And I'm like, "Well, without a 12-month
Yes.
history of showing somebody else
batting
making the
the eyelashes.
payments."
Right.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So I said, when you get pre-qualified, you need to tell them that,
Yeah.
hey, you co-signed on a lease, and you don't have a 12-month history of somebody else paying it, so that's
Yeah.
going to count.
So
That's
make sure to call your
interesting.
person.
Yes.
Your person in your corner, your A team.
right.
Give them a call.
And-
let them know what's going on.
And you can come to our next first-time homebuyer seminar
Yeah.
to learn the other 7 or
Absolutely.
8 that we have.
That's exactly right.
Bring the daughter that wants you to co-sign. Have her listen to why you can't co-sign.
That's exactly right. And again, from having sat through the seminar, truly for listeners, they're so open to questions, and any point in the seminar, ask those questions and be able to not only get your answers, but most likely if you've got a question, most likely there's others in the audience that have the same question that may not want to raise their hand yet. And so again, going and hearing these kinds of conversations and learning about this, it truly is a great way to get your next steps towards being a homeowner. So it's really, really fun.
And we learn from our members too. We listen to what they have to say, and we're like, oh, I hadn't heard that was a widespread issue, but you're saying it, and you're saying it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll address that. So
That's
it's pretty
right.
awesome to be able to give us that feedback too.
That's exactly right. Well, I want to also just give a big kudos to your entire team for even coming up with some of these great ways to continue to help educate our members and those that are in our communities. Because, Meg, you said it before, but I would just challenge our listeners, Google it, check it out, but there is an unprecedented amount of people in the United States alone who are actually eligible to buy a home, but believe and still are renting because they believe they can't purchase that home. I mean, we're talking millions upon millions of Americans that are qualified and able to be able to start earning that wealth, having some tangible assets like a home that's building your wealth as well. And it's pretty unbelievable to have seen those numbers.
Yes.
So if you're like, I don't know, I still don't know, trust me, at least start the conversation. You might honestly be shocked to find out that while you might be thinking a year from now, it could be 48 days.
You got it.
Well, and you could be coming and saying, I don't think I can. And we might still say, yeah, probably not right now.
Sure.
But our people are going to come alongside of you and say, but this is how we'll get you there.
Absolutely.
And that is such an important
Yes.
thing. I've seen such beautiful stories come through where they're like, yeah, they were as far off the charts in the bad way, but they got there, and this is how they did it.
That's
And
right.
so it's really cool to be able to see wonderful people on their teams to come alongside.
And
our
if
members.
you've ever experienced, maybe you've already started now since our last podcast, getting in touch and building that team. If you've experienced walking into another financial institution where they are, you present your information, and they say, sorry, we can't help you. And then the conversation ends. If you've experienced that, that's not what's happening at LMCU. I can tell you from just my own personal experience, a very good friend of mine, that's what happened to her at 3 different locations. Her credit score wasn't quite where it needed to be, and she was not laughed out, but pretty much said, there's nothing we can do for you.
Yeah.
And then she came to an LMCU branch. She wasn't even a member yet. And she came in and she talked to one of our branch managers. They got in touch with the loan officer, worked it out. They said, yep, we don't disagree that maybe your credit score isn't quite ready yet. But then our branch manager came around and said, we're going to build you a budget right now. We're going to help you make those steps to get there in the next year to get your credit score up. And that was that LMCU approach. It wasn't
built an
a
A-team
come
for
back in a
life.
year when
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
back together, but let's work together to get you there.
Yeah.
Well,
I
our
had the
mission
opportunity.
statement says it all, right? Safe and sound fulfillment of our members' lifetime financial needs.
That's right.
We're in it for
wow.
life.
You've been
You're
studying
welcome.
that.
I have.
I had an opportunity a few months ago to meet a new member of the credit union, a young man who he was the first person in his family to be wanting to buy a home. Mm-hmm. He had 10 no's.
Wow.
We were his 11th financial institution.
No kidding.
And we were his first yes.
Wow. Wow.
And
It
that's
was-
perseverance, and we got to reward him for that.
Right.
right.
I mean, yes, exactly. Like he didn't give up. Home ownership was something that he really was striving to attain.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
got
incredible.
10 no's before he had a yes.
Wow.
And that's what listening to the story does, right?
That's right.
And wanting
Yep.
to come alongside and helping people succeed. So
You got it.
So
Wow.
proud to work here.
Man. Well, again, for listeners, if you are looking for more information on where you can find our next first-time homebuyer seminar, definitely check out our website, lmcu.org. You will find all kinds of great information there, both about our mortgage products that we do offer, like we've talked about, but also under our events category, you can find where the nearest first-time homebuyer seminar. And you know what? If there isn't any available currently in your area, there is a waiting list option too to put your name into that hat, and we can make sure to connect with you to make sure you're up to date on that.
You want to start a conversation, stop into a branch, and
That's
they
right.
can get you hooked up with the right person.
That's
You got
exactly right. So
It's free to talk to a loan officer.
yes.
that's
Doesn't
exactly
cost you
right.
anything.
Conversation free.
Yes.
That is and no pressure, which is even better. So
You might get a friend for life.
that's right. That's right. Well, it's not quite over yet.
Is it getting
for
warm in here?
The two of you.
My seat's getting a little hot.
We are excited to be able to have you back for our Are You Smarter Than the Show trivia, where I so unfortunately lost so quickly. Janice, you were on
swept you.
You did, man. There wasn't a shot in my chances on that one. So, but we're gonna change it up today. So obviously I'm out of the hot seat. Lowe's back in the hot seat. On this hot potato the last
Right,
couple
we are.
episodes. Man, that's good though. That means more money for more nonprofits.
Exactly. We're
And that's
spreading the
always a good
wealth.
thing. That's right. Spread literally.
Literally.
Spreading the wealth. I love it.
From our wallet.
But
wisdom.
today we're gonna have Meg in the hot seat. Janice, you're gonna be her phone a friend, and just like our last episodes, yeah,
the teamwork, the fist
Yeah.
bump is real.
that's true. And I have to play Switzerland on this because I got to read the questions, and I can't,
I'm on my own, is what you're saying?
But go get them. But
Bring it.
That's right. The rules are super simple. We're gonna buzz in with your name, Meg, Low, perfect. You don't need to practice if you don't need to. That's fine.
Low.
Low. But trivia is race to three. Best out of three wins. And then if we get to a point where, it needs a tiebreaker, I mean, you pointed out last episode, it's 3 points, but it's true. If we do have a tiebreaker, though, we'll get to that as well.
Okay.
So, awesome. All right. Well, without further ado, are you
It's on.
ready? First question.
I'm nervous.
What was the original name of the search engine Google? Yeah.
I can't think of anything but low.
That's your name.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
your
my
answer
name.
too?
That's not the name
Oh,
of it.
okay.
No, but it would be good. It would be good.
Yeah.
Ask Jeeves.
No, see, that was a competitor at the time.
So I'm not completely wrong. I was in the right vein.
Yes, search. Yeah, you could
But
have
it
said
wasn't
Yahoo and
Google.
it would have still been in the same category.
Okay.
Was
fine.
it
Yeah.
Next turn.
Ask Me?
Ooh, that
that's
was
another
good.
good one too.
Unfortunately, no. This is a bit of a trick question. I'm so sorry. I should have apologized.
It
but
was Google.
It-
The Google.
It's called, it was called Backrub by Google.
What?
Yeah, Backrub.
Yeah, well,
I think it's pretty clear why
I can see why they went to Google as a little bit of
HR
a...
stepped in on that one.
Yes. Oh, man.
I want questions on butterflies and tulips, please.
Butterflies and tulips for 1,000. Thank you.
Okay. Well, hopefully this is back to the wallet wisdom side of things. Who is depicted on the U.S. dollar bill?
Low. Abraham Lincoln.
I'm so sorry. He is not on the dollar
Oh,
bill.
he's not on the dollar. Dang it.
He is on the
teach this, you
$5. He is on the $5.
Yeah.
I think it's George Washington.
It is.
George Washington.
is.
That's correct.
Hamilton's on the 10.
That's
Jackson's on the 20.
Benjamin Franklin's on the 100.
That's
We all
right.
know the Franklin.
We all know the
Franklin.
Franklin or the Benjamin.
Oh my
All
word!
about them,
Do not
Benjamin.
tell my boss I got that wrong. I train people on that. That is sad.
That's okay. This is only recorded.
It's only there forever.
Okay.
All right. Here we are.
We're here.
And I still have a phone a friend.
1-0. And you have a phone a
do.
friend.
That's right.
Last question. Now, here's where it gets tricky. If Lo gets this, tied game
That's where the
goes to the
tiebreaker
tiebreaker. But if Lo doesn't get it right,
And you get it.
this is a full sweep by the mortgage team.
All right.
No pressure.
Let's go.
All right. Third question here.
Okay.
Now I'm going to be honest. I picked it because I wanted to do the voice. So,
Of course you did.
which movie is known for this famous quote?
Oh man.
Yo, Adrian!
Meg.
Hello.
Man, I shouldn't have answer be another person's name because that.
I heard that.
I think I
You
heard
don't think
the
your name
real
is-
answer and then your name, and then I still feel like I heard Lo after.
I did say it after.
Yeah.
But
So, all right, Meg, you got it, and you got the real name, I think.
Rocky.
Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion, and
played by Sylvester Stallone.
that is correct. That is
So
correct.
I do know my stuff.
That's true. That's very true.
Good old Sly.
My goodness, it
That
is
was
a
fast.
mortgage sweep,
It is.
and just like that.
But our heads are still held high.
That's right.
Money is going to great places,
It
and
is.
we're all for it.
It is. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And
So-
very worthy opponents. So thank you for playing
Absolutely.
along.
Well, again, thank you so much for being on our show. Thanks for being on both part 1 and part 2. So much great information, and it's incredible because we talk about this on most episodes, even just one, where we're like, there's just so much more to cover. Even with
Always.
2-part episode, there's still so much more that we can cover and talk about. But that's where we want to empower you listeners. Get in touch with us. Come into a branch. Call us. You can get connected right on our website as well. But man, we'd love to start that conversation. We'd love to help start to build that team for you.
We
And,
left information for the seminar too.
That's
so
right.
check out the seminar for first-time home buyers. It's a great place for you to stop.
It is. So, well, once again, we are just so excited that you guys are tuning in. Keep leaving us those comments. We really love to learn more about what really is important to you.
They're energizing for us. So
That's
thank
right.
you.
We really do. We make Wallet Wisdom podcasts for you, and so that you can learn about the things that matter to you. So again, thank you for tuning in. Check us out on Facebook,
Instagram,
Twitter,
YouTube,
LinkedIn.
Spotify,
Yeah.
Apple,
all of it.
podcast places.
Man. Eventually, listeners are going to be like, man, they're going to have to drop that whole thing and just say, just tune in.
Yep.
You'll
Just
find
tune into us.
That's
We're
right.
here.
Search us, Wallet Wisdom. All right. Well, thanks again, everyone. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
Toodaloo.
Thanks for listening. The information provided in this podcast by Lake Michigan Credit Union is general education or marketing in nature and is not intended to be accounting, legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Statements of individuals are their own, not LMCU's. All topics discussed are information of a general nature and do not address the circumstances of any particular individual or entity. Consult an appropriate professional concerning your specific situation. As of the date of publishing and any future date this podcast is broadcast, all rates, fees, payments, or other specific figures discussed are subject to change and are dependent upon your specific financial situation. All loan products discussed are subject to credit and collateral approval. You alone assume the sole responsibility of evaluating the merits and risks associated with the use of any information or other content in the podcast before making any decisions based on such information or other content. In exchange for listening to the podcast, you agree not to hold LMCU, its affiliates, or any third-party service providers liable for any possible claim for damages arising from any decision you make based on information or other content made available to you through the podcast. For more information on any of the content discussed in this podcast, please visit lmcu.org. Copyright Lake Michigan Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender. LMCU, NMLS ID number 442967.